Howdy. Hi, Mr. Lucky. How are you, Homestead Aquarius? Hello, 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 hello. How are you? Good evening, everybody. I hope I'm on time. I am right on time, according to my computer. It's good to see everybody. We got some stuff to talk about. I got notes. I got some notes. I wrote some things down that I wanted to talk to you guys about. You just don't even know what to say to people anymore that are not preparing. And listen, I have people on my channel that live in New York. This is for you. There are no more fans for the crap to hit. Okay. Just, I'm telling you, look, listen, you guys, myself, hey, JB, you got the notification. Great, great, great. It's a hot mess out here. I'm telling you, I don't think, I would say a good 20% of Americans are absolutely brainwashed and clueless as to what kind of a mess we are really in. Hi, guys. It's there are no more fans for the crap to hit. Okay, I'm telling you. Listen. I'm laughing, but it ain't funny. It's just you get all of these emotions going, right? Y'all know me because hey it. Whoo, lordy, lordy. Look, let me just let me go to my notes because y'all know how y'all do me. Y'all make me be going crazy over here. Look, y'all, listen. Truckers done gone wild. They done gone crazy. Now, listen. I was, my husband was Canadian, and he immigrated to U.S. 2 years ago legally. I was an immigrant to Canada for 10 years, and we came back because they were losing their minds up there. We thought, now they losing their minds here. But anyway, listen, I was a little bit hard on them truckers because I felt like the ones in Canada who really spearheaded all this. And the reason that I was upset was because you have to live in that country to understand the culture. Um, the world looks at Canada and says, "Oh, they're so peaceful, they're so nice, they're passive. They're absolutely passive. These people, it have been bred out of them to fight for their rights." Okay, the current prime minister there, his father many years ago started the propaganda of stripping the people of their rights little by little, all in the name of it's for your safety, it's for your good, we care about you, blah 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 blah. And when you have people that have this "I'll just follow the leader" kind of a mindset, they'll walk you right off a cliff if you're willing to go, so that they can seize your stuff and take over your life. So, anyhow, my husband wasn't made of that kind of stuff. And he felt like ever since he was a boy that he would always someday move to the United States. And this was, long before he knew me or anything about me. And so we're here now. And it's infuriating to see what's going on. People are talking a lot about the southern border because that's where predominantly the influx of people is coming. We have over 120 something countries that have infiltrated our country, and not legally. Some, they trying to do it legally, but most, no. They're being financed, they're being bankrolled to come here and to do this. Now, so I started out by saying that the truckers in Canada really, they spearheaded this. My issue with them was as soon as they ran across persecution, they tucked tail and went home. I was very disgusted about that because I felt like, what? Now, I mean, you can't, first of all, I think they underestimated the diabolical nature of their prime minister. They really, you know, he's a drama teacher, right? He's a pretty boy. So they look at him like, oh, he's a nice guy. And I've watched the meetings at Parliament. that they've had with him. And I've watched the opposition party try to hold him accountable for the decisions that he's made and the things that he's done. And I've watched him BS his way through all of it. And I'm like, he didn't say anything. He has word salads too, if you know what I mean. He didn't say anything. He wasn't accountable for anything he did. But when the truckers hit a point of persecution up there, they tucked tail and ran. And I was very disgusted by that. I thought, really? Because the only thing, what they were protesting was they wanted the right to live their lives, go back to work, send their kids to school. And the prime minister said, those ideas don't fit with the Canadian people. So you don't want us to work and you want our kids ignorant? Is that what you're saying? Is that the ideals of Canada? Anyhow, I do applaud them for spearheading this thing that has taken like almost like a viral thing and has gone around the world. So I want to tell you about these different truckers. That's why I said truckers and gone wild. This movement that started in Canada has served as a launch pad, and it has inspired other countries that feel like they're coming under the whip of tyranny to do something about it. So I feel like Canada spearheaded it, but actually, before Canada did anything, if you remember, a couple of years back, Denmark, the farmers in Denmark were being told they had to cut their fertilizer use by 30%. Now, if you cut fertilizer use by 30%, that 30% less yield you're gonna get at least, right? And all of these different countries were so intimately connected and intricately connected by trade that if you do something like that to one country who exports a lot of its cheese and all kinds of other stuff, it's going to affect the economy in other countries. It's just common sense. If you look at your own checkbook and you look at your own budget, if you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, Peter didn't get all his stuff. Okay. So if you take out 30% of the fertilizer, whoever you were supposed to be shipping stuff to either won't get it or they won't get the amount that they normally would get, which is going to affect their economy. Am I making sense? Okay. So let me just give you the names of the countries that have gotten on board with this trucker thing. Holland, Denmark, France. France was on fire last month. When I say on fire, I mean literally. they were burning tires in the street. Crazy. I don't know if you saw those. Anyway, just look it up. It's on the internet. You can see it. Poland, Italy, Germany, where I lived for several years as a civilian. Germany was so ticked off at their government till they weren't using trucks. They were using tractors. And they went over to their parliament buildings and just started spraying them with manure. I mean, that's what they think of them. They started spraying the buildings down with manure, spraying the streets with manure. It was crazy. I saw that too. I'm like, ooh, I'm glad I don't live there no more. Got to be smelling pretty right. And now the U.S. is doing something. Now the U.S. tried to do this before. And I really think that because of the PSYOP, because of the psychological warfare that was done against the world, that a lot of people, because of what happened on, back in January on that special day a couple of years ago, I think that it did something to people. It made them shy and apprehensive about standing up for their rights, right? Our founding fathers said that when our government becomes tyrannical, then it is the duty of the people to do something about that. Okay. There are things that we can do about that. And I'm really being careful how I say things because, Homeland Security show up at your doorstep acting stupid. So anyway, so these countries are fed up with their government overreaching, trying to seize their private property and their right to eat, their right to grow food, their right to medical autonomy over their own bodies. and things like this. And this is the same thing that they're doing here. And this is why I tell you guys, don't just look at Washington. You need to be checking the news, other news sources, reliable news sources around the world, and look at what's going on in these other countries. If you see what's going on in these other countries, this is a global agenda. This is not one country. This is not that country. This is a global agenda. They all have the same playbook. They're playing from the same playbook. It's just that each country is at a different place in the book, depending on when they got on board with the vision, right? So, anyway, you tracking? All right, track. Now I want you to track with me now. All right. So these people are protesting over their right to live prosperous lives, to work for a living, to send their children to school without them being inundated and over sexualized, and being made to be confused about who they are as a person and what their gender is and all this kind of stuff. And when you look at the statistics, educationally speaking, of the kids now that can read, write, do basic math. Listen, when you go onto the streets of anywhere in the US, especially California, and you ask them where is the capital of the United States, and they don't know. Uh, Seriously, they don't know. You know why? They weren't taught. They don't know. And so I think a lot of these parents are just assuming that when these kids are going to school, that they're learning what we learn. They ain't learning jack squat, okay? Except how to be confused about whether they have whatever. how to be confused about their gender and how to be offended over somebody's race. Lord have mercy. Anyway, back to New York. Hi, Amanda. How are you? Hello, Carolyn. Hi. How are you doing? I'm going to catch up with you all's comments here in a minute. Lord Jesus, let me tell you. I want to deal with. I want to talk to some of my subscribers that live in New York and California. California, you're coming up, but I'm gonna talk to New York first. Listen, I don't know what you've been doing, what you've been spending your time doing. I don't know if you're on board with the open border policy or any of these things that are going on. But I want you to remember that your city officials and your government officials got on the mic, told the whole state that they were okay with this. Okay. They didn't care what it cost you. They didn't care what it cost your kids. They didn't care about the danger it put you in. They didn't care about the skyrocketing prices that it was going to lay on your shoulders because these people come with no skills, no language, no nothing, plenty of diseases, and no respect for our way of life or for our country. They voted for this. Some of you guys voted for this. Now they want to get on the national mic and be upset because they said we're a sanctuary city. We're everybody's welcomed here. We don't care this and we don't care that. Well, you better. It's too late to care now. It's too late to care now. You know why? Because the horse has left the barn, baby. It's too late to care now. Your city, this country, has been infiltrated. Period. There are sleeper cells waiting for their activation orders to cut your throat, to shoot, put a bullet in your head, and rape your daughters. Okay, this is where we are, people. There are no more fans for the crap to hit. This is where we're at. This is where we are. Hi, Sharon. Lord Jesus. And so let me tell you something. Don't get mad at Trump. Okay, don't get mad at Trump because let me tell you this. I could care less who it was, the man with all his faults. I don't care if it was a woman in office at the time, whatever. They saw this coming. He said, you cannot have those borders open like that. Close the borders. No, 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 no. He's a racist. He's there. He's there. He's other. Now they want to cry and whine. This is unsustainable. No, sustain it, sucker. Sustain it. Eat it. All right. You voted for this. You got on the mic, Adams, and said that everybody was welcome. You didn't have any limitations at all. That's what money does to people. That's what the love of money does to people. It makes you not regard your brother. That's what it does. This is where we are now because of greedy politicians who are self-consumed, who care nothing about their citizens, and who will get on the mic on a national screen and lie to your face and tell you it ain't an invasion. Okay? Oh, Lord. Well, this didn't take long for me to lose my mind, did it? Listen, New Yorkers. I don't know how many of these truckers are going to get on board with this boycotting of your state. Okay? This is your state. This is statewide. This is not a city. This is your state is being boycotted because of a fraudulent trial that has been taking place and political persecution that has been taking place for nearly 8 years. 8 years? This has been going on. And the people are sick of it. Sick of it. All right. So let me tell you what you need to do. If you live in New York, this is what you need to do. You need to be burning up the phone wires of your representatives and telling them to get a hold of that nutcase of a judge, and he needs to reverse his decision. This is ridiculous. There is no crime. There is no fraud. There is nothing. The bank said there was nothing done wrong. He paid us back everything. We had an agreement. He paid it. No problem. There was no tax fraud. There was no real estate. There was nothing. You have a psychopath sitting on the bench making decisions like this just because he's being bankrolled by somebody else, some nasty, demonic something from some other world, okay, that has entered this man's mind, that is using him like a puppet to destroy a life and destroy a family and destroy a country. And in the process, taking you down with it because the people have had enough. They are done. They've had enough. And so now you have these truckers who have said, we're not bringing loads into your state. Now, you better hear me. This is not just food, folks. This is anything. There is nothing on the shelf of a store that did not get there by a truck. Okay? I don't care if it was a mini truck, a van truck, a 5-ton truck, 2-ton truck, whatever kind of truck, it got there by truck. Whatever product it is. This is not just food. This is water. This is medical supplies that are trucked into hospitals. This is anything and everything. And the people have said, we are done. We're done. And so there you go. Now, you've been prepping? Because people like me told people like you need to be getting some food. You need to be getting some water. You better stop trying to get your nails done, get your hairs done, and all. You better get it now, because let me tell you something. They're talking about 7 days. That is catastrophic for absolutely nothing to move into that state for 7 days. Now, that's not to say that every trucker is going to get on board, but here's the thing. I heard this one trucker say, he doesn't really care. And the company that he works for does not care whether they go to New York or not. They'll just pick up a load somewhere else and go somewhere else. They'll go to some other state and do something, or some other state is going to get more stuff or whatever. They don't have to go to New York. Now, how's that going to affect you? What have you been doing all this time? Do you know how many years I've been on here? You know how long I've been trying to tell you to get ready? And let me tell you, for people who don't live in New York, if you think They not going to try this in the town where you live. You crazy. You 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 see what's going on. Don't wait until it comes to your door to prepare for it. Okay. What happens if when there is an emergency? It doesn't even have to be a boycott or a strike. What happens if there's just an emergency in your city and your city gets shut down or your town gets shut down or whatever, and nothing can come in and nothing can go out? How you gonna make it? You gonna make it? You gonna be all right? You gonna be good? Because guess what? Some people aren't. You know why? Because they so busy gazing around and looking at whatever everything that's going on, but they ain't doing nothing for themselves. They're not doing nothing for their families. Nothing. This is not a game. This is not a joke. They want you dead. I told you that. Now, this whole thing with the truckers is it's like a double-edged sword, because it will force the hands of the powers that be to do something, because there should be such an outcry from the people that these elected officials start to resign their posts out of fear of being lynched or whatever people do nowadays. Okay. They would be resigning their posts because there's such an outcry, such an uproar. They'd be afraid to walk down the street because they have turned so many people against them. Right? It's the power of the people. If the people do not understand that they have a right to replace government that is abusing them like this, they will continue to be abused. And after a while, there won't be no pity for you because, hey, you asked for it. You know, you asked for it. Anyway, oh, Lord. I ain't finished with you, New York. Now, let me say this to you without yelling at you, hopefully. First of all, I'm sorry I'm yelling at you, but I'm not finished. So just look for it to come again. Because I can't help it. All right, listen. They're talking about 7 days. Then I heard this other trucker who was getting together with other truckers, and they're talking about boycotting New York for 3 years. That state will utterly collapse. You are already inundated with gangs that are from Venezuela, that are from other countries, that they don't care anything about the rule of law because there is no law. There is no law. It has become a lawless big bird cage full of every kind of unclean bird you can think of. This is what these blue states and blue cities and blue towns and blue counties have become. You don't see this stuff happening. You see what red states will do. No. You're not coming in here raping our kids, raping our women, shooting our men, pillaging our homes, destroying our businesses. No. 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 That's a no. That's a no. Okay. You want to come in, come through the door. Come through the door. Because most people, you try to get into their house through a window or the back door. You didn't ring the bell. You didn't call and say, hey, can I come over? You ain't doing it. You just come busting in. You might get blown out. Okay. So now, in a blue state, in a blue city, well, you might not. As a matter of fact, in the blue states, in the blue cities, they'll tell you, well, if somebody comes to rob you, just give it to them. Just let them have it. Anyway, okay. This is why you see what's happening in these stores with these gangs, these organized crime rings that are walking into stores and walking out with shopping cart full of merchandise that's making your prices go up. They didn't pay for squat, and they don't intend to pay for anything. You know why? Because, defund the police. Just follow the trail all the way back to the BS 40 years ago. Defunding the police and, Black Lives Matter and all this stuff going on. All this stuff because of one guy. Okay. One guy who said we need to secure the border. And that crap came from China. Okay. It came from China. That's why I call it the China virus. And here we are. Here we are. Everything the man said is right here in your face. How you like him now? Huh? You don't have to like him. It's true. It's the truth anyway. Let me tell you about these 7 days, okay? We don't know for sure how many of these truckers are going to boycott your state. We don't know that. Some may say, well, I see what happened with um, the truckers in Canada and all this, and I don't want to get involved. Listen, take a load somewhere else. Nobody's asking you to give up your job. We're just saying take a load somewhere else. It doesn't have to be there, right? The other thing is, it only takes about 72 hours to wipe out the shelves of a store. I'm talking about a grocery store. Okay. After that, if people are going to the store and they can't find what they want, or they hadn't gotten their paycheck yet, and now they got their paycheck and they go to the store and there ain't nothing there for them to eat, yours is looking pretty good. Okay. What you going to do about that? What are you going to do about personal protection? Because clearly your elected officials ain't trying to protect you. Okay. They ain't trying to protect nobody in that state. So it's a cesspool. I'm sorry. And ain't nothing worse than that except California. And who could even, and we'll get to California in a minute. You better get to the store. You better stop stargazing, talking about, I don't know what to do. I'm telling you what to do. You better get to the store and you better get what you can get right now, because you don't know how big of a deal this is going to be. You don't know how long it's going to last. But I'm telling you, if they go through with what they're talking about doing, there ain't going to be nothing on the shelves for a while. A while. Okay? And all these food recalls and all this stuff, they're pulling this food off the shelves, trying to make you think it's contaminated so that you'll start emptying out your own cupboards and taking it back to the store so that the stores can ship it back and give it to the government so that they can take it to the border or take it to all these hideaway places where they have these migrants sleeping in the airports and all this kind of stuff, or shipping it out to other countries while they're shipping us in bad produce. And so you better get to the store. You better get to the store. That's what I'm telling you. You better get to the store. I don't care if you pick up 2 cans of beans, you better get it, because guess what? Them 2 cans of beans ain't going to be there in a couple days. I'm telling you right now. Oh, Lordy. There is nothing. Just let your mind go broad. I don't care if it's auto parts. There is nothing that gets to the store without a trucker. Okay? And they're pissed. So, just saying. Just saying. Now, California, it's your turn. I don't know if you've been following the news in your state. I'm kind of everywhere, looking around. I'm looking because I want to see where's the devil now. What's he doing now? So, and y'all be reading the comments and stuff because it's good conversation going on over there. Listen, in case you didn't know, now y'all listen to this, and this is what you need to look for in your own state, okay? Her name is Kelly Wong. She's a Chinese national. She is a Chinese citizen, and she has been unanimously appointed by the election board in the state of California. Let me find my notes here. In San Francisco, to sit on the election board. She's not a citizen. She's not even supposed to vote. And she's sitting on the election board of San Francisco. Kelly Wong. Look it up. Okay, I ain't lying. I'm just telling you what happened. I'm telling you what happened. It was a unanimous decision to let her sit on that board. Now, if you think last month before last, where the Chinese prime minister came to San Francisco, you would have thought you were in China. The streets were lined with the Chinese flag. You didn't see an American flag anywhere. That ought to let you know who Newsom belongs to, okay? These people have sold out this country. They want to give you the illusion that everything is okay. Everything is not well, okay? It ain't well. Listen, you can call me whatever you want to call. You can call me negative. You can say it's fear. Get off my channel. Get off my channel. Bye. Have a nice life. I ain't got time for you, okay? Now, for the rest of us, listen, I'm trying to help us get as situationally aware and prepared as we can be, because the enemy ain't even at the gate no more, folks. He is in the city. Every city, every state in this country. Now, that's what a Homeland Security officer said. They are in every state in this country waiting orders. That's what they're doing. Now, you can sit around if you want to, put your head in the sand or say, I don't know what to do. Stop lying to yourself. You know what to do. You either trifling or you don't believe any of this is going on. Pick one. Okay? So, California, I don't know what to tell you. You know, for years, before I saw any of this stuff that I see now, people were saying, get out of the cities, get out of the big cities, get out of the big cities. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with being in a big city? Now, I'm in a city, not right now, as you can see, but I'm not in a city right now, but my primary residence is in a city, but it ain't a big city. It's like 120 something thousand. It ain't like New York or, you know, city or someplace like that. But now, do you see the wisdom in moving if you can? See, now is not even a good time to move because they done screwed up the real estate market. This thing is a hydra. It's got so many tentacles and so many heads and so many places that is screwing up so many things at one time till it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And if you think the old guy in the White House is the one that's calling the shots, yeah, he's not. He's not. He's a puppet. He's a pawn, and he didn't even know what day of the week it is. So there's that. But anyhow, so let me tell you, when you have people from communist countries that are sitting in seats of power and being decision makers or appointed by a unanimous vote to be decision makers in a process that immigration says they have no place being in that process at all? Doesn't that sound like treason? Because it sounds like that to me. I'm just saying. Anyway, Kelly Wong, look it up. San Francisco, look it up. Think I'm lying? Look it up. Look it up. Here's another blue state, Oregon. Been to Oregon, beautiful place. Well, it used to be. Last week, Oregon, now this is all, in my opinion, it's a result of an open border policy with no limitations, no screening, no nothing. Oregon has reported that they have seen their first case of the bubonic plague. You guys, this is medieval stuff. Okay. The bubonic plague, the first one they've seen since 2015. I didn't even know about the 2015 one. Good grief. Anyhow, when you have the borders open like this and you have people coming from other countries that have been exposed to all kinds of stuff that we have not been exposed to, it is necessary for them to go through physical medical screening before they are allowed in the country. When I immigrated to Canada, they didn't just let me walk in with my hand out making demands that I stay in a luxury hotel and eating, you know, whatever kind of food I wanted to eat at somebody else's expense. I had to prove that I could support myself, or there was someone, a sponsor, that was going to support me for a minimum of 3 years. I had to prove this, okay? I had to prove that I was physically fit. I had to go through a physical exam. I was asked all kinds of personal questions about my physical being. I had to take blood tests. I had to give a urine sample. I had to do all this stuff. And then I had to wait for all that to be cleared up before I could eat, before I was even allowed to get a job or do anything. Anything. There was a process, folks. There's a process. Why did they do that? Because they did not want me, number one, becoming a ward of the state, bringing all my disease and my sickness, infecting their populace, and draining the citizens of their resources because I had no skill, I had nothing. I had to prove that I could support myself or that my sponsor was willing to support me for the 3 years. 3 years before I could apply for citizenship. I was there as a resident for 10 years. They offered me citizenship twice. No, thank you. I'm good. That's okay. I bleed red, white, and blue. I'm good. I'm good. I'll just no. There's a process. That's not what's happening. This is why we're seeing stuff that we have not seen. The bubonic plague carried by rats and fleas. We got rats, we got fleas, but we ain't had that. We did not have that. Now we got that. Now we got that. Lord have mercy. Let me tell you one more thing. What time is it? I'm not finished yelling at y'all yet. Wait. Let me tell you something else. Now, you remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2020, 2021, 2022, very interesting time. They didn't want anybody to go anywhere. They didn't want you to do anything. Then, it's just 15 days, just everybody just stay in. I'll tell you, it was the weirdest thing. My husband and I were here. And we decided we need to go into town where our place is an hour from here. We said we need to go and be closer to home. And it was really something to see how the American people, because of what they were told, because of what we were told, really wanted to help get this thing under control and be their brother's keeper and help protect their neighbors and their family members and all this by trusting what the medical community said, who at the time nobody knew had been weaponized against its own citizens. Okay, nobody knew that. But when we left here, I'll tell you something. We were driving into the city. And I don't know if you've ever seen that program used to come on television called World Without People. It was the eeriest thing. Even the wildlife knew something was wrong. You didn't hear, I'm out here in the country. You didn't hear a bird. You didn't see a cat. You didn't see a dog. You didn't see nothing. You didn't see any livestock. It was bizarre. I'm in the country. We didn't see a cow. I don't know where they all went. It was dead silence. There were no cars moving. I mean, there was us. And that was weird because we're going down the highway. We ain't pass a car. I'm telling you, it was bizarre. It was eerie. Very, woof. I was like, are you seeing this? There's nothing moving. So I told my husband, there's no one. There's no people. Where is everybody? And cars that you would normally see in the driveway, you ain't even see them. People had pulled them into their garages. I guess they thought their cars was gonna get it too. They pulled their cars, and it was something because of what we were told on the national mic. And now here we go again. If you think they're not going to unleash something and try to lock everything down again or start a war before this election comes up, you're wrong. You're wrong. Now, so let me Oh, Lord Jesus. Let me tell you, this happened last week. There's a gentleman that boarded a flight on Lufthansa Air, and I had the name of the flight, but I did not write it down. I forgot to write it down. 63-year-old man. You may have heard about this, and his wife boarded a flight on Lufthansa Air. Before he boarded the flight, he was sick. The man was coughing, he was sweating and all this, and the attendants noticed it. They noticed it and asked him, was he all right? And he said, yeah, he was just, tired from running to catch the flight, is what he said. He boarded the flight in, listen, Bangkok, Thailand. Okay. During the flight, he got progressively worse. Very, very sick, very sick. And he started coughing and vomiting up, and I quote, liters of blood. All right. This sounds like hemorrhagic fever or something, right? And he passed away. His wife was there with him, but he came from Thailand. Now, I don't know where he was before then, but he boarded that Lufthansa flight in Thailand. He was on his way, I believe the article said, to Munich, Germany. They turned the plane around. They took it back to Thailand. But there were 523 passengers on that flight. Everybody's going somewhere. How do you think that first thing got here? How do you think that first thing got all around the world? Everybody wasn't going to one place. They got off those planes. They were going all over the world. Here we go again. Here we go again. These people are sick. These people are psychopaths, okay? And I tried to tell you this before. You better take this seriously, what is going on. You ain't got time to be scared. You better get to the store. What are you going to do about your medical situation? Do you know that there is such a shortage of medical supplies that diabetics can't even get their stuff in some places? Did you know that? That there's a shortage of syringes and those things that they use to prick their fingers and all this stuff. There's a shortage of this stuff. When you have illnesses and things like this, you have got to stock up on everything you need. Because if they shut the world down again, and they keep doing what they're doing with the truckers and all these sleeper cells and all this, that they're waiting for their orders, they're waiting to attack. The emergency broadcasting system is being revamped. Did you know about that? To give a certain alarm at a certain time. And I ain't talking about a tornado warning either, okay? Things are happening, folks. And people don't want to pay attention to this stuff. And they look at channels like mine, who I just assume I'm going to get shut down anytime now. I don't care. But they look at channels like mine and other people, Appalachia Homestead, MD Creekmore's channel, and just different ones. We're trying to help you. We are trying to help you. We are telling you what we see. We're telling you what's going on. We can't make you care enough about your own life to do something about it. We can't make you care. You're not watching a soap opera. This isn't a movie. This is happening in real time, and it's happening to you, whether you want to believe it or not. And so don't look at my channel or anybody else's channel. These channels that are telling you how to protect your wealth. You see what's happening with the banks? You see, it's a hydra. I'm telling you, this thing has so many heads. There is not a sector of our society that this evil has not captured. Okay? Not a sector, and that includes the church. That includes the church. that are ordaining abominable relationships. Okay, that don't even, I ain't even gonna go. Okay, never mind, because I'm gonna lose my mind for real on that one. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna leave that alone. But anyhow, you know what I'm saying? And that fight's been going on for a long time. Now you got whole denominations splitting because of that, because some want to stick to what the scriptures say, and others want to write their own Bible. Okay. And do what they want to do what they want to do. Well, just go do what you want to do. All right. You wanna shoot pool with anyway, never mind. When we come on here, when I say we, I mean, people like myself who come on here and lose my mind because I'm passionate about what I'm doing and I'm serious about what I'm saying. We know what's at stake. We know they can show up at our door at any time. We know that they can try to drag us off and put us in a black hole somewhere because we talk too much. We know that. We understand what we're up against because we've seen it. We know we have political prisoners in Washington, D.C. that are there just because they went into the people's house. We know that the feds were there. We know that the whole thing was a setup. We know that. They know that we know. And if you think that I think that they're not watching our channels, we're not that dumb. We know that too. But we have a duty, especially as veterans. If you're a veteran, you have a duty to respect your oath. I'm going to do what I can do, folks. That's all I can tell you. Um, my heart is broken over the condition of my country. And it breaks even more for people who don't want to see, that think it's a game, that, think it's just one big thrill because it hasn't really affected them yet. So they don't care enough about their own lives to do anything about it. You better get your house in order. Okay. You better be thinking of ways that you can protect yourself and your family. You do not know who is down the street from you. Let me give you a story, quick story. Our sheriff is not running for re-election. He's been sheriff for 36 years. I've lived in my city for 32 years. He was sheriff when I got there. He's become very, very ill. And he was a Democrat, so there's that. Um, he's not running again, which is good because he really has outlived his usefulness as a sheriff. He's sick and he's too compromised, I think, to engage in the battle that we're in now. But the sheriff is supposed to be the highest law official in your county. And if he's on board with all this woke stuff, you are screwed. I'm telling you, you're on your own. You have no help. He or she will not stand up for you when the fight comes to your county. Not going to do it because they're on board. They've been bought. They've sold their soul. They've been compromised. They're not going to fight for you. Okay. Where does that leave you? What are you going to do? So here's the story. So that position is coming open in our county. And we have 3 gentlemen who have decided they want to throw their hat in the ring and run. I've heard 2 of them speak. One of them I did a personal interview with that lasted about an hour and a half after an official meeting that I had in my county with the Republican women. I'm the president of Great Plains Republican Women. And after that meeting, I had a meeting with him. It was myself and 4 other people. And I asked him some very pointed questions. He's been in law enforcement for several years, served with the U.S. Marshals for a long time. And I was asking questions concerning the Constitution. What is your? Because here's the thing. If you have law enforcement that does not, number one, know the basics of the Constitution, how are they going to fight for your rights if the federal government decides to come to your county and violate your rights? How can they fight for you if they don't know what your rights are? How can they fight for you if they don't even know what their own rights are according to the Constitution? So it's important to me that whoever steps into that position understands that the Constitution is the law of the land. The state constitution and the national constitution is what they need to be going by. And if I ask you questions concerning that and you're hemming and hawing, I'm just not sure you're the person for the job. Okay. Now, I might talk to you one more time, but if the only thing you have to speak to me about is what you did for all those years, but when I ask you what is your vision for now, for the county now, and you can't tell me that, that's a problem because you're not interviewing for a job that you had 20 years ago. All right. And whether he knew it or not, it was an interview. I have the right to cast my vote for whoever I want to vote for. So there's that. It would do you well to sit down with your sheriff if you can pin him or her down long enough to have a conversation with you and just ask them. Let them know because they already know what's happening at the border. They know what's going on. They know what's going on in your city and in your county that they ain't talking about because they don't want to cause a panic. We had a building here. It was a years ago when I got here. It was called Gibson's, and it was kind of like they sold, some small furniture like curio cabinets and occasional chairs but mostly clothes and just odds and ends and stuff like that. And that store was there forever. And then they went away after so many, 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 many years. And then the building just sat for years and years and years. And different ones looked into buying the building or renting the building or whatever. And then eventually it started being used again. It got revamped. And then Raytheon moved into that building. And they were there for a while. And somebody else moved into that building and they were there for a while. And guess what came up the other day in conversation about that building? They were bringing people in under cover of darkness to that building. And they were instructed to not bring them in by the busloads, just use a van a little at a time, just a little at a time, so as not to draw, whatever you do, this was the quote, don't draw attention to this building. Now, my husband and I knew that something was going on with that building. I said, what in the world? What is going on over there? Because it got all spruced up and prettied up on the outside, but you never saw anybody there. You never saw. I said, they are doing something under cover of darkness. And they are. Now, what exactly are they doing? They're using it as a processing center. Who are they processing? We don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you who does know. Sheriff knows. Chief of Police knows. Homeland Security knows. They know. But they're not telling us. So what does that tell you? You are on your own. Hi, Verindia. If I didn't say hi to you, I don't think I did. I'm so glad to see you. I care about you. We care about you. People like me care about people like you. Okay? And we have spent a lot of time telling you all that this was coming. This is like a slow moving train headed toward a brick wall. This thing is going to erupt at some point. Our money is worth nothing. I told you all you need to watch what's happening with these banks. Now you got banks that won't even cash a check. This guy went to his bank. They wouldn't cash his check. Bank of America, would not cash his check. There was nothing wrong with the check. You know what they told him? We don't have any money. We don't have any cash. That's what they told him. This is a bank. They had no cash. What's happening with the cash? What's happening with the money? You think they don't want to make everything digital so that they can track every single thing you do? And then if they decide that you're making a purchase that they don't like, they will flag your account. They can flag your account. They can cut your card off right now. My husband and I were traveling. Here we were at the I think we were at the airport. I'm not sure. And we went to go buy, I think we have just bought some tires or I don't know. Anyhow, here we are at the airport. And they cut our card off because we didn't let them know that we were going to be traveling, and they thought somebody had stolen our credit cards or whatever. They cut our cards off. We had to call them and say, no, that was us. That was us. And we had to say exactly how much it was, exactly where we got everything, and they turned the card back on. That was years ago. If they could do it then, they can do it now. What happens if they don't like what you say? Or they heard that you said this, or you had a neighbor that reported on you because you said that, or whatever. And you go to the store and your card doesn't work. If you think that's not a reality, it is in China right now, and it's been that way for several years now. You know that credit score thing? That's a global thing that they want to do. They're closing banks. Banks are going under with your money in it. All right. So I've told you before, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. They own it. Watch your finances. Get to the store, people. Get to the store. Do something. I know some people have not done anything. They haven't started yet, whatever. You can sit down, you can look at your budget, and you can see where you can shave things back. I was looking at these different reports that I was reading from people that were saying they were doing things like cutting off their cable. So I'm just going to cut off my cable. It costs too much. It just costs too much. Okay, so if you cut off your cable, or if you decide I'm not going to get my nails done anymore, I'm just going to let them grow out, forget it. That is not something you have to have. Cable is not something you have to have. You could take the money that you're giving to the cable company and they suck anyway. Okay, so might as well just cut it off. Money that you're giving to the cable company, money that you're giving to the nail salon, that's food. That's water. That's medical supplies. Don't tell me you can't. If you're doing that, you can. If you're still buying McDonald's, whatever that stuff is, and Burger King, whatever that is, you can buy an extra can of green beans. You can buy a bag of rice. And rice. Oh, Lord, that's up. I told y'all at the beginning of last year, the end of the year before, that India stopped exports on their rice, on the cheap stuff. They exporting the expensive stuff, not cheap stuff. I told you. I told you. So please go back and look. Go to the videos. Go to the live streams on the main page and look at the videos. I'm sorry if my heater just came on. So if you can hear that roaring in the background, it's because the heater just came on. And look at the videos that I've done previously. I remember having like 1,000, 1,200 views, whatever. They throttled me all the way back to 300, 200, 100. They said, YouTube is sick of me, okay? I don't get paid to do what I'm doing. They're sick of me. I don't care. I'm just going to keep right on doing what I'm doing. All right. I try not to yell at y'all for longer than an hour. I want you to leave me with a headache. So I really hope that I've said something to spur you into action. Don't be afraid, be aware. Be aware. And when I said to you in a couple of videos ago, you better put your head on a swivel, it's because I see what's going on. I see what's happening. I see people beating up police officers, being let go with no charges, and flipping the US people the bird because there was no penalty for what they did. That is outrageous. The citizens of that city ought to be absolutely outraged over that. But you know why some of them aren't? Because they had already been preconditioned that the police were against them, needed to be defunded. See, all this thing led up to all this. Turn the people against the police, so when the police get attacked, the people won't stand up for their own protection. It's just one big psyop. The great human experiment is what I call it. Keep your tank full, okay? Your gas or whatever it is, kind of car you have, your diesel. Make sure you have extra that you can store somewhere in case you do have to get out in a hurry. It has gotten dangerous in some cities to even walk down. You can't walk down the street. If you get mugged, if you get beat half to death, you get raped, they ain't coming to help you. They are not coming to help you. If they don't want to help their own police officers who are sworn to protect and serve, they're not coming to help you. They're not. They want you dead. I told you that. I told you that. And you might think that's over the top. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. Okay. That's all I can tell you. We're in trouble, folks. We're in a lot of trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. We have a lot of enemies all over the world because of abuse of power of our government that has gone on for decades. They haven't just abused their own citizens, they have gone into other countries. This country has gone into other countries under false pretense and have raped them of their resources, have abused our power as the world power, abused our right, gone into other countries, raped them of their resources, took over their lands, took advantage of more vulnerable countries that couldn't protect themselves. Oh, we'll come in and we'll protect you, but you're ours now. That's what they do. I mean, that it ain't just us. I mean, this is what Rome did. This is what, you know, this is what people do. This is what countries do. That's how one country becomes stronger than another country. They go in, they take it over. Get in decision-making seats for the country. You have been taken over, okay? That psychopath in California, I can't even believe that the people are so bewitched in that state that they don't get rid of this guy. That just blows my mind. All right, but there you go. And why is it that the guy in the White House has not been arrested? You know why? Because our justice system sucks. That's why there ain't no justice, folks. There's just us. All right. Keep your head on a swivel. Go get your food. Don't make excuses. Ain't no time. Don't nobody want to hear your excuse. Don't even come to my channel with no excuses. I don't want to hear it. Go get your food. If you don't want to do that, don't show up at my door because you're gonna be hungry. Okay? You're gonna be, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna be hungry if you've been listening to this channel and then you want to show up at my house talking about what you ain't got. There ain't no reason for you not to have at least one extra can of something. Stop being vain. You ain't got to go get your hair done. Learn how to do your own hair. Do your own hair. It's cheaper. Do your own nails. It's cheaper. Or don't do them at all. Just let them grow like me. See that? I don't do my nails. Anyway. Oh, Lord have mercy. And find people of like mind. You know, you don't have to go around. And let me tell you this here. Stop running your mouth about what you have and how much of it you have. Just stop it. Stop it. All right. You have hackers and these crazy psychopath people that can track your IP address, and here you done blabbed and gabbed about everything you got. and they're coming to get it because now they know where you are. Okay, shut up. Stop talking. Stop talking. Stop talking. If you want to help somebody, help them. If you don't. But you don't have to tell the whole world what you have and where it is, being braggadocious, because you're being foolish. You are being foolish. There was a time it was safe to do that. It ain't safe no more. Our country has been overrun. It's not safe to do that anymore. All right. We're going to get through this one way or another. I want you guys to take care of yourselves, okay? Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family. If you're able to consider, you know, stretching exercises or doing whatever minimal things you can do to get yourself in more physical shape, do that. I'm 12 pounds down from when y'all last saw me. Now, most of that is because I was sick as a dog. but I decided, hey, I might as well keep it off. So I've been, doing stretching exercises and trying to get myself in a little bit better shape and watching the time of day that I eat and cutting back on snacking and the whole 9 yards. Am I gonna run a marathon? No, I ain't running nowhere. No, I ain't doing that. But I can walk from here to wherever, my bedroom, and not be out of breath. That's a plus. Do what you can to get yourself in a little bit better shape. Okay. Um, Consider your personal protection. If you're in a state where, or a city where you can't have a firearm, they don't respect your constitutional right to bear arms, bear some bear spray. Did you do something, right? Do something. Carry something with you to protect yourself because they're not coming to help you. They're not. They're not. The places that may want to come and help you are probably stretched so thin that by the time they got to you, you'd probably be beaten to a pulp. Unless you can protect yourself. Okay? All right, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And if this was your first time on my channel, you can ask the rest of them. Do I always yell like this? Yep. I always say I'm not going to, and then I don't know what happens. I try not to. I really do. And then, there you go. Anyway, if it's your first time here, please put that in the chat. I would welcome. Make sure you subscribe. The next time I come on, I'll probably lose my mind again. But hit the subscribe button and please give the video a thumbs up. It helps to keep the channel in the forefront, right? They're gonna kick me off of here eventually because I just talk too much. I say too much stuff. So I'm really surprised. But like I said, they throttled me back quite a bit. I'm down to 100 something people, 200 something people. They hide the channel. They literally hide the channel so that people can't see it. And let me tell you, it's not just happening to me. It's happening to a lot of people where their subscribers are not getting notified. They're not getting the notifications. They ain't getting nothing. All right. And the only way they know that I'm on is that they see that I'm on. I just came on live, or they just happen to go and check, and there I am. Or they check later on and see that I did a live broadcast and they never got notified about it. So check, and those of you that are subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed because they unsubscribe you too. They just, yeah. I had people disappear and they said, why'd you unsubscribe me? I didn't do anything. They did it. It wasn't me. Anyway, you guys have a great night. God bless you. Godspeed. Watch your back. Watch your six. Get your food. Cut your cable. And I'll see you the next time I come on. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care and God bless you.